like to open an account, please.
Oh, are you saving for something?
Yep, my money's gonna save the world. We're gonna turn wind into energy! And even make it possible for the sun to power stuff. We're making farms more efficient. And turning gas into electric. No exhaust pipes, see?
We're doing all that.
We sure are.
We are coming to you today from Yellowknife Northwest Territories in Denendeh and Acacia region on the lands of Yellowknife's Dene First Nation Chief Dragees territory.
We are so glad you're joining us here today. Together we are learning, growing, and celebrating Indigenous peoples in the region of Northwest Territories.
Today's episode will feature a message of hope from knowledge keeper Michelle Gillis and musical performances from Leela Gilday and Willie Thrasher.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello everyone. On behalf of the Downie and Chanie Wenjack Fund, I'd like to thank you for joining us in celebrating National Indigenous History Month. DWF is proud to present programming that brings Indigenous and non-Indigenous people together to celebrate Indigenous culture, history, knowledge, and talent. This year, we are focusing on the themes of reflection, honor, and commitment, themes that over the past year are more important than ever. In May of 2021, people throughout Canada and the world learned about the recovery of the remains of 215 children at the former Kamloops Indian Residential School in British Columbia. Since that time, several more communities have announced findings of their own, and even more are undertaking investigations. These findings have been a starting point for many as we continue to learn about our history. My brother Gord has inspired so many of us to take up the call to do something, to elevate Indigenous voices. This month is a time for reflection, time to honor Indigenous people, and a time to commit ourselves to reconciliation. Thank you so much. We are really grateful to have you join us as we celebrate Indigenous History Month together. Thank you. Miigwech.
It gives me great pleasure to be here and to talk to everyone that has been involved in this foundation. we know what we all have to do in order to come together as people in this world. We also know what to do and what to say when we want to come together. In the times that we need each other, we make it a must that we be there. And everybody else that has written to me, all children across Canada, I have read every letter. Some children are wiser in their years, and I really like that. I hope these children carry on Canada to have a better place to live in. I'm glad that I have had this time to spend this few minutes with everybody. And I thank you. I hope in the future, when once this sickness and illness is passing away, I hope to visit some of the schools and get to see the children. And hopefully everyone is well. That is my prayer for everyone, to be happy and free. Thank you. Miigwech.
Pass on the teachings is one of the 9 Downie laws. Today we have the opportunity to learn from and about Indigenous History Month in the Northwest Territories.
Some of the Downie laws are share what you have, help each other out, love each other as much as possible, be respectful of elders and everything around you, sleep at night and work during the day, and be polite, and don't argue with anyone. Young people should behave respectfully and be happy at all times. Learning about the Downie laws, stories, language, and traditions of Indigenous people of Canada are important steps in building our understanding, connection, and community. The journey towards reconciliation is strengthened with experiences involved with National Indigenous History Month. We are fortunate today to listen to some sacred knowledge keepers. Stories are told and lessons are taught by our elders to honor living on the land and what is important to our everyday lives.
My name is Lena Cleary. This is my grandson, Aiden, and we're in the Chief Dragi's territory in Yellowknife, and we're going to be talking about the spruce gum
and how it can heal you.
Yes, the spruce gum. Indigenous people have been using the spruce gum for many years. It's a medicine that they have from the land. They use to heal the cuts, the burns, eczema, scabs. They pick the spruce gum from the tree and they separate from the bark, and the gum they put in the stove top and it becomes an ointment. What you do is you separate the gum from the birch. You separate it like that, and then the birch comes off. All these little twigs would all come off, and then you'll put this in the saucepan, and you put it on the stove, and it'll all come together. It'll come together like this here, and you apply that to the skin, to any source you apply to. You apply the gum first. You apply the gum, and then you put a little piece of beaver fur on it like this. A little piece of beaver fur on it like that, and then we use a hide. Any hide, it can be a caribou hide or a moose hide, and we apply it like that, and then we wrap it right around like this, and that there would give no blisters. There'll be no blisters on there, and it'll leave no scar as well too. And for the cold, if they have a cold, they just chew one of these, and it becomes like this. It becomes really light pink. They chew it, and it's good for the cold too. They say it heals their cold also. And what they do is that they take all this, and they put it on the stove top, and they make juice out of it, and the gum juice, that's what they drink too. They drink that for their insides. The Aboriginal people, they say it's been healing their a lot of sickness, like sometimes a cold and other times cancer too. The Aboriginal people, the Indigenous people in this area. Masicho.
The North is home to many stories and legends. One of the most well-known heroes is Yamoria, and he's featured in many Dene stories in all of the regions of the North. Yamoria's stories recorded by travelers and missionaries in the 1800s are very similar to stories told in many Dene communities today.
Throughout Dene history, elders have kept their traditions alive by telling stories to younger generations. Many Dene elders feel it is important to record their stories so that they are preserved for the future generations. There are many regional versions of the Yamoria stories. Every Dene group of the NWT tells the story of Yamoria chasing a giant beaver. This story shifts and turns and changes a little bit due to language, location, and the individual storyteller. To check out more of this story, visit the NWT Exhibits website for just 6 of the Yamoria and the giant beaver stories.
Okay, first of all, my name is Willie Thrasher, and I'm originally from McClavic, Northwest Territories. That's where I was born. Then I moved to Inuvik, Northwest Territories, where my mom and dad moved from because they were whalers, and I started my my life there as a Inuvialuit with a big change in my life. You know, like we had a time when I used to live out in the wilderness with my dad and mom, right by the Mackenzie River, and the whalers and the trappers and the hunters that were still living off the land were still there, but they go to town to get their supplies. But I remember that my dad and mom had a really scout that was given to them by the government because my dad worked for such a long time, and after a while the whole life has changed for me because my dad started stopping living off the land, and then when we moved to Inuvik, Northwest Territories, living off the land, whaling, hunting and trapping, our life, our traditional ways has changed, and I was there when it changed, but I didn't know. The day that they took me when I was 5 years old from out of the wilderness with our scout to the residential school while I was speaking my language, my life has changed forever. And I remember when I was 5 years old, I still had that wild feeling in my mind. 5 years old. And I knew where the fishes were, I knew where the wolves, the polar bears, the seals, I knew how my dad lived off the land at 5, because I seen him, eh? But as soon as I walked up to the residential school where my mom took me, the first, second, third day, my whole life, put it this way, was changed forever. I still remember at the time when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, that I used to see the Inuvialuits, the elderly, sitting together. There's no missionaries around. And they used to talk about the old days, and they used to pass, you know, the way they used to live long time ago. You know, and I picked that off from my mom, my dad, my, from my uncles, from my grandfather, and I picked it off from the stories, and it was one of the most beautiful, beautiful picture of life in the world you could see, of the Arctic wolf, the igloo, our drumming, our singing, our dancing, our parka, the way we live, our traditional ways where we had the chief, we had the medicine man, we had our dog team, and we exactly knew where to go out hunting for the polar bears, the seals, the caribou, and how we used to live off the land. And it was natural for us in those days. It was natural to be wild. It was natural to hear the Arctic wolves, and we weren't afraid because we had protectors, we had hunters, we had medicine men that guide our people in a good traditional ways. When someone gets sick, the medicine man knew what to do, and the chief would protect the people from the others. And that's how we lived a long time ago, and that was passed on to me. It's really hard to combine, both worlds together because it's hard to understand one thing, the traditional ways to the new ways, because it will never be combined, because our language, our way of hunting, our way of living was so given to us by the Creator. And then the new way of life has changed our ways, our behavior, and the way we live, and it's high technology. Like the Inuit people from Northwest Territory used to go from with the dog team from their community to the next self, and to the next town, to the next destination where they hunt. But now they're using jet planes to go all over the place. So it's a big change. At first, it was really hard for me because I was going through a lot of difficult time. I had a lot of alcohol, drinking, and going through this frustration. A lot of anger from the residential school. I had my brothers and sisters I'd never seen for years, and all our traditional ways was torn apart, and it's a very confusing world unless you control what's going on within inside of you. I didn't have that. All I had was music, travel, and try to do the best I can and work wherever I can. I control my life really, but beyond that, it was hard to carry on what I really wanted to do until this lady came by and started making me understand that alcohol had a lot of control of my life. And then one day she said, "You drink again? I don't want to see you no more." It's 20 years of drinking, and I just look in my eyes, look at the sun, the ocean. I looked deep down inside, and then I heard that voice. "If you drink again, I don't want to see you again." It's just like the earth. It's like the earth talking to me. It's like Mother Nature talking to me, like God talking to me. That voice was talking for everything on this earth. If I kept on going, I am going down. That was the message. So in that point, I look at that flower, and then from there it started building up. I started quitting drinking for 1 day, 2, came to 3 weeks, came to a month, came to 2 years, 3 years, and then it became natural after that, natural for me not to drink anymore, but the heart life is still there, put it that way, but I have to control it within myself, deep down inside, what my mom and dad has given to me. It brought something that I needed to show the world of the Inuit culture, of world peace, of our traditional way of dancing, of how we live in the Northwest Territories, of how the world could get together live as one, like going to the firesides, and we got to light the world. We got to light not only one part of the world, but the whole earth. It's time to get it together and show the world that we could unite and bring back peace, love, and understanding to this earth. If we don't do that, we will not succeed.
Rise up in the morning, the sun spirit hits your eyes. There is something happening. The eagle can feel it in the sky. The world's got no healing. There's too much power everywhere. It's time for all nations to get together and show Mother Earth that we care. Ayanga, ayanga, ayanga. Ayanga, ayanga, ayanga. Hey, ya, hey. Hey, ya, hey. The sacred fire piece is burning. You can feel it in this song. It's time for all nations to get together and bring peace back to where it belongs. Let's dance for the mountains and the rivers and the trees. Let's dance for the ocean, the valleys and the sea. Ayanga, ayanga, ayanga. Ayanga, ayanga, ayanga. Hey, ya, hey. Hey, ya, hey.
What Indigenous History Month means to me is coming together as a school at St. Pat's High with Indigenous and non-Indigenous students and staff. And we all learn together, and I feel like that's what Indigenous History Month is coming together to learn about the history in Canada.
Gord Downie challenged all Canadians to do something.
Do something to raise awareness.
Do something to educate yourself and others about the history and lives of Indigenous people.
Do something that improves the relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people.
Reconciliation actions are the answer to Gord's call, recognizing that change starts with each of us.
These can be one big action involving the whole community,
or small actions that help to create daily change, one step at a time.
We recognize 9 official Indigenous languages in the Northwest Territories. There are 3 Inuit languages, Inuktitut, Inuinnuktuq, and Inuvialuktun. Gwich'in, North and South Slavey, Tl'icho, and Chipewyan are the 5 Dene languages. Dene means the people.
Danete, Sazi Lila Gilde Sariti. I'm Lila Gilde, a singer-songwriter from the Dene Nation, and I'm happy to be coming to you today from Yellowknife's Dene Treaty 8 territory here in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. I'm excited to be celebrating Indigenous History Month with the Downie Wenjack Foundation today. I'd like to bring to you a music video that I shot in my home community of Delaunay in the Satu region, which is where my family is from. I really think the video and the song highlight the themes of reflection, honor, and commitment that have been identified because it celebrates a traditional form of Dene music, which is Atsula, a Dene love song. And this love song is sung at the beginning by an elder, a Satu elder, Adeline Vital, who's since long passed on, but her family gave me permission to use the recording. And it inspired the song called Space, which is really about how no matter where you are, we are always connected to our family, friends, loved ones, and our communities. So your actions impact everyone. And I think it's really important to remember, especially at a time of isolation, especially when we've been going through a lot of trauma, collective trauma, with the discovery of our children buried on residential school grounds, which, we knew about that, but it's now coming to the public light. It's important to remember that we are connected. So that's my reflection. And I guess the last thing that I wanted to say that in Dene Kede, in our Dene language, there is no word for goodbye because there is no separation. So Masicho, I hope you're celebrating together with family and that you're enjoying all of the reflections and the music and arts that have been brought to you today. So please be well. Masi.
So there is a space, a place for everyone. So there is a time when leaves have to fall, and what you left was love and a hole in the room where you have gone. I know that we will be there soon. Where you have gone, I know that we will be there soon. Some people just are wild, and they give everything. Skin can't hold their passion for life. Their fire burns hot like the sun for the moon. Where you have gone, I know that we will be there soon. Where you have gone, I know that we will be there soon.
What I love most about living in the North is in the summertime, the daylight never ends. You can go outside all day and play with your friends, and when your parents tell you to be home by dark, you won't get in trouble. And in the winter, you can go snowmobiling, you can play ice hockey on the lakes, and we have a snow castle you can go to.
Sledding, that's the most part. I love sledding out there, and during the summers I just love biking with my brothers and swimming, doing whatever, going to the beach, driving, you know, that's what I love to do. Hockey, it's there, you know. Like I love the sport, you know. It's always 24/7 for me. Whenever I get the chance to play, I'll play. And I love hockey.
So what I love the most about the Acacia region with Samba K is the love between YKDFN and Yellowknife. So that's Yellowknife Dene First Nation, and the strong sense and culture between everyone, and just how beautiful the landscape is in both summer and winter seasons.
What I love about the NWT is honestly the size. We are small enough to walk to a friend's house, but also big enough to look across from ourselves once in a while and see somebody we haven't ever seen in our lives. We can introduce ourselves, learn about their culture and who they are. Another part of why I love the NWT is because we get best of both worlds seasonally. For the winter, we can go ice fishing, sledding, and visit the ice castle, whereas in the summer, we can go fishing, swimming, and make sandcastles.
Hi, my name is Michelle Gillis. I'm the president of HK Consulting. I'm an Inuit consultant, past politician, and I'm here to help you celebrate the Northwest Territories and Indigenous History Month. I was originally born in Cambridge Bay, what was then the Northwest Territories. My partner and I, our families, extend all the way to Anaktuvik, Alaska, with family in Inuvik, home in what was Coppermine NWT, Cambridge Bay NWT, and later became Nunavut. And most of my time has been spent in politics and political science and policy. I've always had a dream for our communities to be better, to grow and to develop. And like Gord Downie and the Gord Downie Chanie Wenjack Fund, I found it imperative to try to eliminate racism and a lot of the injustices that happen, and promote education and capacity building amongst Indigenous people, both First Nations and Inuit, but also that we need to send this important message that we're not here to be superior as a race. We're here to be an equal. And what makes the Northwest Territories so great is that, like the Northern Lights and the beautiful, wonderful colors and the variety, is that there's so many great people in the Northwest Territories, so many different cultures that come together. I'd rather focus on the positive things that we're doing today to advance Indigenous and tell them we are open for business and we are an equal, and we're educated and intelligent business people. And we want to build on that northern capacity. And so when I say the great thing about the Northwest Territories is it's a land of the midnight sun, it has all these great cultures and food and culture, wherever you may be. It's that mix of people and that uniqueness that makes the Northwest Territories so great, so wonderful. And we need to look after our people. What's the one thing I love about the Northwest Territories? Well, I love the Northern Lights. We call it Achaliak. There's different names for it in different languages. But I think I love that the NWT has the sun all night long in the summers. It's cozy and dark in the winters. But there's a lot of trauma there. There's a lot of effects of residential schools and intergenerational trauma that's been swept under the rug for many, many years. And we need to help our people. We need to heal our people so they can look after themselves and their families. And the one beautiful thing, I think, is the sound of the drum and singing and jigging and dancing in the NWT. And of course, all of the great people. It's home.
We just want to give you a warm thank you so much for joining us for the Downie Wenjack Fun Indigenous History Special of the Northwest Territories.
We all have a role to play in reconciliation. Subscribe to the DWF newsletter and follow DWF on social media at Downie Wenjack to continue the conversation, and together we can continue on the path toward reconciliation.